Well, hello. This is our chapter scripture reading, and we're going on to chapter 7 of Genesis today. Chapter 6, we saw where the preparations for the flood were being made, and so I can assume chapter 7 will be about the flood. So let's see. I'll open up the browser so you can follow along. Okay, chapter 7. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, and thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by 2, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by 7s, the male and female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. And yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and every little substance, every living substance that I have made will be destroyed from off the face of the earth. And Noah did accordingly unto all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the floods of the water was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife, and their sons and wives with him into the ark, because of the waters of the flood. Of the clean beasts, and of the beasts that are not clean, and of the fowls, and everything that creepeth upon the earth. They went in 2 and 2 unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month and 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of the heaven were open. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the selfsame day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, and the Lord had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and beared up the ark, and it was lifted up upon the earth. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the water prevail, and the mountains were covered. And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both the fowl and the cattle and the beasts, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, even and every man. And in those nostrils was the breath of life. Of all that was in the dry land died. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Okay. That was very interesting. A lot of stressing on different aspects. I'd like to just quickly go back and take a peek at some of the sections before we call it end of this session. Just want to take a look, and I noticed that in verse 2, there's a differentiation between the clean beasts, and they were to take 7 male and females, and of the beasts that were not clean, by 2. So 7 couples, if they were clean, but it doesn't say much about what's an unclean beast. And then there's a reference about the fowl of the air by 7s, male and female, and a reference to keep seed alive upon the face of the earth. So some reference of the fowl and seed, and I don't know whether that's the analogy of birds spreading the seed. And in verse 4, I guess the Lord gave Noah 7 days' notice, and they were going to reign for 40 days and 40 nights. And here there's several references to Noah's age. In verse 6, it notes that Noah was 600 years old. That's pretty old. And then it talks about his sons and his wife, and they did so. Then in verse 8, it makes another reference to clean beasts and beasts that were not clean. And anyway, I'd like to know what that actually means. Then in 9, it talks about them all getting into the thing, and then in verse 11, the reference again to Noah's age, the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month and the 17th day. Make note of that. Then it started to rain for 40 days and 40 nights, and in verse 13 makes a reference to his 3 sons and their wives and so on. So they're the only survivors. And go along here. In 17, another reference to 40 days and 40 nights. The waters prevailed. So on. Then near the end here, I noticed in verse 23, it stresses again that everything was destroyed. So the only thing that remained was what was on the ark. And then in 24, there's a reference, the waters prevailed upon the earth 140 days, so 50 days. So it must be that there's 40 days and 40 nights of rain. And then it took the additional time for the waters to over 100 days for the waters to subside. So that's, again, very interesting. I'm finding these Genesis extremely interesting. I find each chapter small enough to read in like 5 or 10 minutes, but full of all kinds of gems that should be researched. And we'll go through this once like this and then maybe come back and drill into a bit more. And thank you for hanging in there with me. And we'll see you in the next reading.